think you both of them.
I don't know. We don't seem to have a moderator, so
Okay, well,
we may just.
you're the moderator.
Okay, we will get going.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Laurie White with Community Farm Alliance. My teammate Sandra Barnes is here with me. We're going to give you an overview of Community Farm Alliance programs today, starting with way back in the beginning, in the 1980s, was when Community Farm Alliance got its start in the farm loss crisis of the 1980s. Anybody know somebody who lost a farm in that time, the 1980s? It was a bad time for farm losses, lots of foreclosures. It's also the same time that Farm Aid got started. So similar roots to those two programs. One of the first things we did was start a crisis hotline for farmers that were in danger of losing their land. Some other things we did was help people get seed corn if they weren't able to get loans to get their seed corn to plant their crops. And right along with that was a labor hotline for people who needed help getting their tobacco harvests in. So, one other thing I would say about the roots of Community Farm Alliance are that a big part of where we've come from and where we are now is about the tobacco transition. So when the signs that tobacco was going downhill came about, we said, well, what are we going to do for all the farmers who have relied on that crop for their farm's profitability? So one of the things that we have focused on a lot out of that is growing the local food economy as a way to grow produce. Uses a lot of the same equipment as tobacco farmers already had, and so we could transition that into vegetable production from there. So just taking a look at what we have going on currently, I mentioned food system development. We have several programs under that we'll speak about. We do a good bit of farmer outreach through the Patchwork Initiative, the Louisville Food Vision, and climate resiliency programs. And everything that we do ties back to the work that we do in policy to try to make sure that our lawmakers in Frankfurt and DC hear what's happening on the ground with farms in Kentucky and know what our farms need from our lawmakers. So first program we're going to look at is the Kentucky Double Dollars program, and Sandra's going to come tell you about that.
Hello, everybody. Sandra Ballou Barnes. I'm grateful to be here today. Thank you all for coming in and hanging in with us this afternoon. I'm going to try to make this as pleasant as possible. Feel free to jot down some questions, and hopefully at the end we'll be able to do some Q&A. But if it's so burning, just raise your hand and we'll try to answer it. We want to make this as pleasant, again, as I said, as possible for the both of us. So Kentucky Double Dollars is a program that operates across the state of Kentucky in several different locations. And what that Kentucky Double Dollars does at a farmer's market, the participant checks in at the farmer's market, they get tokens, they're able to double, actually, their dollars. So it allows the consumer to be able to get more produce and fruit and vegetables, meat, eggs, and dairy when they're at the farmer's market. There's also some retail locations, and the retail locations utilize the SNAP benefits. They can shop at the grocery store and double those benefits. And then in the end, Community Farm Alliance pays the farmer for the produce that was either purchased at the farmer's market or at the retail location. So in 2024, which is not over yet, so far our Kentucky Double Dollars impact has been 45 counties offer Kentucky Double Dollars. 70 farmers market, 8 retail stores, and 2 community markets. And this map indicates where those, the green spaces are where we're located in Kentucky. This is a quote I'm going to share from the Jefferson County Market. So that Jefferson County Farmers Market said, Kentucky Double Dollars not only helped the farmers that collected those benefits, but it also brought more people into our market in general. With the success of the program, we were able to expand our market to have 4 night markets this past summer. And this gave us a chance to provide produce and other local goods to a whole different demographic and truly helped our market grow. And then some other statistics that are listed in 2024, Kentucky Double Dollars redeemed. It lists the SNAP fruit and veggie at almost 35,000, SNAP meat and dairy, meat, eggs, and dairy at a little bit over 14,000, the senior farmers market 85,000, and then the WIC participants, which was 13,000. So all in total, Kentucky Double Dollars has awarded $318,000. And so if you have questions about Kentucky Double Dollars and maybe how you can maybe participate in your area at your market or on farm, you might want to contact 2 staff members that we shared here, Jamie Fitzwater and Margie Stelzer. So next I get to talk about Fresh RX for Moms, and that's my baby. That's the program that I manage. And so here we have pictured 2 of our farmers that we brought on board this year with a new initiative. We started to partner with local farmers in a CSA model. We noticed that expectant moms are busy. If they're already a little one in the household, it's hard for them to maybe to get to the farmer's market during the hours that the farmer's market is open and the days that they are open. And so Wisteria Hill Farm, which is in Mercer County, was able to partner with the Mercer County Health Department and provide Fresh RX CSA at the health department. And she delivered her produce to the health department, and the moms picked up there. And then Two Sons Farm, this is Sharon Stone. She was the 2023 Bill Best Award winner, and she's pictured with Bill Best. And Sharon Stone partnered with High Five Farm to provide produce in Woodford County, at the Woodford County Health Department. And so both programs were very successful in meeting the needs of the moms. If anybody knows Sharon, she wants to poll the moms. What would you like to see more of? Do you like this? You don't like that? And so I'm pretty excited about the expansion for the CSA model as we were able to expand it this year. So what else happened? Some of our other locations in 2024 were the Cincinnati Birth Center, and we partnered with Darkwood Farm, which is in northern Kentucky, Bracken County. I guess it's kind of northern-ish. Change Today, Change Tomorrow with Taylor Ryan, partnered with Bear Fruit and Grow out of Louisville, Kentucky, and they were able to serve moms kind of like a one-stop shop. Why have moms go to this place, that place, this place, that place? If they could come and get their produce while they're getting other services, we noticed that that was a great impact for our moms. And again, I mentioned the Woodford County Health Department. And then lastly, Need More Acres with Michelle Howell and her partnership of farmers in Allen County. They provide a delivery service of Fresh RX for Moms. They actually have college students from Western Kentucky University and other partnerships that deliver the produce to the mom's front door. So we were excited about that. And Michelle has been a longtime partner. Actually, where Fresh RX started was a pilot program in that area of the state. And so it has grown tremendously. When I visited the Cincinnati Birth Center this summer, I got to actually talk to a dad that was picking up for his wife, who was at that time 9 months pregnant, and he expressed their gratitude for the program, how as a young family, both in college, how this was able to help benefit them as a participant in the program. And so his quote was, he expressed, as a young college student family, being able to participate in Fresh RX has impacted us not only financially, but also providing fresh produce during the pregnancy. And this is a mom that's picking up with her little one. Darkwood Farm delivers the produce in these containers. She puts ice packs in them, and then the moms pick up from the porch. We also have Fresh RX in farmers markets across the state, and I chose to highlight some of our most beneficial to the community of partners in farmers markets. One is Community Farmers Market in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and the other one is the Franklin County Farmers Market right here in Frankfort. And so they really work hard in their community to have access to those moms, to get them into the program, whether that's through the HANDS program, the health department, other outlets give referrals to the farmers market for them to attend. And then a neat expansion this year in Franklin County, we were able to expand into Locals Food Hub. And so Locals Food Hub is very integral in this work that we're doing across the state, and they have been successful in implementing the Fresh RX program at Locals Food Hub. Year to date, our direct impact to farmers is $145,000, a little over that, to Kentucky farmers that participated in Fresh RX, whether that was at a farmer's market or our CSA program. So here's my contact. If you want to chat with me, I'd love to talk to you about how maybe we can partner in your neck of the woods to offer Fresh RX. I'm not sure exactly. We're in the process of migrating and changing the program, but we're always looking to grow and offer resources to you to help you to grow your farm and your farm practice as well. So in between this, we don't have a slide, but I also want to talk about our work with the Farmers Market of another program, the Farmers Market Support Program and the Farmers Market Resiliency Program. The Farmers Market Support Program offers a cost share along with Kentucky Double Dollars. A farmer's market has to be enrolled in Kentucky Double Dollars to get that cost share. And what that cost share allows those farmers markets to do is actually pay for a staff person. If you're connected to a farmer's market, you know that it takes many hands and many bodies to make a farmer's market successful. And one of the ways that we can help impact farmers markets is by offering that cost share. And then the Farmers Market Resiliency Program is a program that helps farmers markets grow. And so we have a lot of partners that come alongside of us to help that program grow and work. There's some trainings involved, how to set up your farmer's market, setting up bylaws, and all those type of things. So my coworker is B. McShane, and if you go to our website, you can find more information and how to contact B if you have questions about the Farmers Market Resiliency Program and the Farmers Market Support Program. Strengthening our local food system, and that's going to be Lori.
So many of the programs we do with Community Farm Alliance are statewide, but I want to tell you about some special programs that are specific to Eastern Kentucky, around the North Fork of the Kentucky River. So Jennifer Weber is our coworker who's working in Eastern Kentucky, and her 3 areas of work are identifying farmers and helping them grow their business, developing and maintaining market channels, which I'll tell you a little bit more about some of those specific market channels, and then engaging customers, so building that demand for local food products with customers, especially households that are low income. One of the things we did this past year with Eastern Kentucky farmers was participating in the Grow Appalachia Beginning Farmer Rancher program, and we taught the marketing portion of that. So here we were doing a demonstration how to set up a farmer's market booth and all the best practices around that. And then a big part of that work is planning and running the Eastern Kentucky Farmer Conference. It was started back in 2006. That was meant so that the small farmers in Kentucky didn't have to go to Lexington or Frankfort or Louisville to meet with service providers. The service providers would come there to meet with them. So another big part of the work there in Eastern Kentucky is a partnership with ARH hospitals, specifically in Hazard and Harlan, working to get more Kentucky-grown foods into the hospitals. And the most successful part of that has been an employee CSA program. So the employees can sign up as part of their workplace wellness program, sign up to get boxes of produce from local farmers. And then they also hosted some pop-up farmers markets at the hospital, and the people recognized the farmers' products from their CSA boxes they had been getting, and then they would come and shop with the farmers and buy some more. This includes there were some cooking demos as part of that. The Farm Cares CSAs, I want to tell you a little bit about. That was a program where clinics had their customers who have chronic disease, diet-related diseases, can refer their patients to a food program so that they can treat their chronic disease with fresh local vegetables and fruits. So that's another part of the work in Eastern Kentucky. And that's Jennifer Weber's information. Part of the outreach work that we're doing is about climate resiliency. So back in 2021 and 2022, 2 years in a row, Eastern Kentucky got hit with really terrible flooding. It was disastrous. And a lot of the disaster programs that were meant to help farms, like USAID doesn't always do small farms very well. So we ended up doing a disaster program specifically for farms and farmers markets out of that. Continuing that work to think about not only how do you get through the immediate crisis, but then how do you continue to build your farm up to be able to withstand the disaster after disaster. Even if it's not like a major disaster, there's small disasters happening all the time, like the drought that we had this summer. So Amy Richardson is leading our work in climate resiliency. She's been working on sessions on agroforestry, seed saving, stream management. This was another stream management site where they hosted this event where they toured some land and talked about how to assess your land and think about what the best use of the land that you have is. There was a big initiative that came out with climate smart agriculture, and Amy set up some workshops together with the Kentucky Black Farmer Association, learning all those different programs that were available. There were 6 or 7 different grants active in Kentucky, helping farmers know how they could get connected with some of that climate smart agriculture work. Again, more programming with Grow Appalachia through Pine Mountain Settlement School and Hindman Settlement School. And that's Amy's contact information if you're interested in that climate resiliency work. And now Sandra's going to tell you about our Patchwork Initiative, which is another one of our outreach programs.
So currently, the Patchwork Initiative is in process of planning our conference, which will be held February the 28th in Louisville, Kentucky. So please save that date, February the 28th in Louisville, Kentucky. And there'll be more information coming out about that soon. But Patchwork is designed to help to bring resources to, just like this conference today. We've prepared a toolkit for our BIPOC farmers in Kentucky. So if you need one of these, you can find one on our table out in our display area. And we'd love for you all to take one and put it to good use and share it with others. So I just talked about the conference. And then one of the other initiatives is the Maddie Mac Fund. It started out under the Kentucky Black Farmers Fund, and it has migrated into the Maddie Mac Fund. And this year we were able to award, put my glasses on. Originally we awarded 43 farmers totaling $31,000. Our second round of farming was for 9 farms totaling $6,000. In total, 52 farms in 26 counties across the state were served with the Maddie Mac Farmer Fund. And ironically today, I have met a couple of people that actually knew Maddie Mac. And so that's inspiring to hear their stories, and we would like to continue to grow Maddie Mac's work across the state of Kentucky with our black farmers. And so those dots represent the areas that were serviced by the Maddie Mac Fund. Another part of the Patchwork Initiative was the Blackberries podcast. And if you all haven't listened to the Blackberries podcast, I encourage you to do so. It has some really great stories. We featured today just Jeff Coles with Thelma's Garden, as well as Letitia Marshall with Bear Fruit and Grow, and then our own Kenya Abraham. You can go to YouTube and listen to those, as Lori reminded me. Another one of our coworkers, Nia Rivers, is housed in Louisville, Kentucky, and she's part of the Partnership for a Food Vision. And some of the work, the grant overview, some of the work that Nia has been doing is to develop a food vision for 2030, bringing in community engagement. They did a landscape analysis, and then they brought together community partners for focus groups. They also are creating the Greater Louisville Food Council. This Food Council brings together others to implement programs to help the food vision to grow and access to food systems and solutions in the Jefferson County area. And then also they had 2 summits. They hosted 2 summits. One just ended this past summer, and then the one in 2023. Again, some of the focus of the Greater Food, I cannot talk right now. The Greater Louisville Food Council. This is a tongue twister. You all try to say it. Oh, y'all did okay. About as bad as me, but we want to be able to encourage some of our new residents in the state that are already coming from an agricultural background to be successful. How can they optimize their crops, their knowledge in their new home? And so that's part of the Food Vision and the Greater Louisville Food Council. So the Food Vision for 2030 is an 8-year strategic plan that evaluates the post-pandemic. How can we, again, identify priorities, directing people to invest in the program, invest with farmers, to increase greater quality and sustainability, and then also resilience in the local food levels. Other three principles of the vision: healthy local food for all, a just, resilient, and sustainable food economy, and environmental justice. And so if you would like to chat with Nia, if you're close to the Jefferson County area or have some ideas about the work that we're doing there, here is her contact. And Farm to School is Lori.
So Sandra said that Fresh RX was her baby. Farm to School is my baby. So I'm currently serving as the network coordinator for the Kentucky Farm to School Network, which is under the umbrella of Community Farm Alliance. So if you were right now to walk into a classroom full of middle schoolers and ask them where food came from, what kind of answers do you think you would get? Okay, that's almost guaranteed. Somebody will say grocery store. What else? Any other thoughts? Something we've started hearing just in the past couple years that was not something we heard before. DoorDash. And I'm surprised nobody said the drive-through. That's an awful lot of food getting to kids through the drive-through. But this kind of understanding of the food system is why we need Farm to School. So there's different aspects to Farm to School, including some people think about just like the farm to the cafeteria, but there's also the aspect of having basic agricultural literacy. Like, it should be foundational to a child's education to have a basic understanding of food and farms and farmers and their place in our economy and their place in our ecosystem. Until we learn how to eat virtually, we still need farmers. And so this is so essential, such an essential part of life, and it doesn't get enough attention. So we have both the activities in the classroom and what's happening in cafeterias and what's happening in school gardens are all part of Farm to School. So in this photo, these women are shucking corn in the kitchen of a school. I don't remember which school that is, or I would tell you. So farm to cafeteria can be a very important market for farmers. In a lot of our counties, the school system is the largest buyer of food in the county. And in school systems that have multiple locations, multiple elementary schools, a couple middle schools, a high school or two, that's like a miniature restaurant chain happening with all those different locations, and they're all cooking and serving food. But Farm to School doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be feeding a whole school district. It can mean doing smaller activities, like tasting activities, to get students exposed to foods that they might not otherwise have exposure to. So in these photos, we got a kid tasting Swiss chard and one tasting pickled asparagus. School gardens are another way that we can get students to have an experience of agriculture. They're like an extension of the classroom, an outdoor learning lab for all kinds of lessons in science, math, writing. So many lessons can be centered in the garden. And I just think that every student should get the opportunity to experience the magic of burying a seed in the soil and watching for that little green shoot to come up and see what it's going to become. It's such a foundational experience of childhood, and being a human who exists in a world where our lives depend on air and water and soil. And school gardens are also an important place where students can experience the joys and limitations of the seasons of the year. The places we mentioned, the grocery store, the drive-through, DoorDash, they look the same all year round, for the most part. But in the garden, kids get introduced to that idea that there are limitations to the growing season, and there's time and season for different things throughout the year. So in 2020, the Farm to School Network was started under the leadership of the Kentucky Horticulture Council and in cooperation with Feeding Kentucky and the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. It's now been passed from the Horticulture Council to Community Farm Alliance to continue the work of the network. Some of the things that we do are put out a monthly newsletter. We have bi-monthly meetings. We've taken farmers to school food trade shows to exhibit their products. In the world of Kellogg's and General Mills and Land O'Lakes, I like to remind schools that Kentucky farms have a lot to offer to their meal programs. We've done several different kinds of mini grants, taste test grants, and grants for school gardens. We do producer trainings. The next one's coming up at the Kentucky Fruit and Vegetable Growers Conference in January, where we'll do a 4-hour workshop for producers who want to sell their products to schools. And coming up next month, we have the first ever Kentucky Farm to School Summit in Elizabethtown on December 4th. It's going to be bring together people from all the different aspects of farm to school, from the cafeteria, school gardens, classrooms, and the farms, all working together on developing our capacity for farm to school in Kentucky. And one of the things we're going to do, I had to remember why this slide was in there. One of the things we're going to do at the summit is create a toolkit for community partners. So all across Kentucky, I talk to people who want to see more farm to school things happening in their local schools, but they're not directly involved with the school, and they don't really know how to get things started. So we're bringing together a group of people who are going to sit down and put together some ideas and start a toolkit for people to know how to get involved with farm to school in their communities. And that's my contact information. Yes. Yeah, David ends up in my slideshows lots of times. Yeah, so this picture is actually from the Eastern Kentucky Farmer Conference when we were having a grower-buyer meetup. So David's talking with a staff member from the Kentucky Center for Agriculture and Rural Development, KCARD, in this photo, because they are an important community partner. Yeah. And we have a table out in the hallway. If there's any of these programs that we talked about today that you want more details on, we probably have something for you out there. And I've got business cards too. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is really the heart of Community Farm Alliance, which is our policy work. And that's all the way from local policies to Frankfurt to here our policy director, Kimmy, and I visiting the Capitol last year. Was that earlier this year? I think it was last year, where we had some meeting with our Kentucky legislators about that particular occasion was talking about the Farm Bill and what Kentucky farmers needed to happen in the Farm Bill. But one of the things that we do, policy related, is trainings and workshops to help people know what the tools are that are available to you to advocate for yourself and for your farm. So a couple examples here. The photo is Kimmy giving a presentation at our farmers market leaders gathering, and then the graphic is from a Farm Bill event that we had in Bowling Green. So that's one of the things that we do, and we do those in person and we do them virtually, and some of them are recorded and available on our YouTube channel. So if you don't know anything about the Farm Bill and you feel like that's something you need to know about, you can check out our Farm Bill stuff that's on YouTube. And then this was an activity that we did, writing messages to our Congress members. So this was a postcard campaign where we had all over Kentucky, we were dragging these postcards around, having people write them, and then we were hand delivering them to our members of Congress. So you see there a couple of our members who've now formed the Kentucky Black Farmer Association, Tiffany and Tatum. This was pre-Kentucky Black Farmer Association. They were delivering postcards in DC. And then we take people to have meetings with their legislators. This one is in Frankfurt, so at the state level legislation. Got Sandra in there, again Tatum. This was at our lobby day last year. We'll be planning another lobby day for the next Kentucky General Assembly, and we would love to have any of you be part of that if you are interested in going and telling your legislators what they ought to be doing for you. We also sometimes have the opportunity to give expert testimony in committee meetings when they're considering pieces of legislation. So these were 2 different committee meetings over this past legislative session where we were working on defending the safety net. So there were some proposed cuts to the SNAP program that were really going to devastate our double dollars program and all of those dollars that are going to farmers through that program. But it's not just that. We've testified on other issues too. And then another thing that we do, it was hard to find a good picture for this one, but our executive agencies, USDA and the FDA, put out a lot of rules every year. So once Congress passes a piece of legislation, then they have to decide how they're going to implement it. And they're always collecting public comment on forming these rules. So we do a lot of collecting public comment from Kentucky farmers and consumers to send on up to the federal level to help shape the implementation of those policies. So at one point we had a Farm Bill sign-on letter where we were requesting support in the Farm Bill for local food systems instead of just big commodity agriculture, and we had 29 markets and 700 farmers all sign on to that letter that got sent on up to DC. And then this year, we signed on to this letter to our legislators about the Farm Bill. We were one of 1,000 organizations that sent this letter. So it's at the federal level, we really lean into our national networks, and there's a lot of media stuff that goes along with that and representing Kentucky farm issues in the media. But the final thing I want to say is that at Community Farm Alliance, we would love for you to grow something with us. We are a member organization. If you would like to support this work, we have sliding scale membership, so any contribution that you make helps support this work that we've talked about today. And Sandra and I are going to be out here at our table. If you have questions about want more details of anything, we would be glad to talk with you about that. Thank you.